Hello everyone, welcome back to All About Bikes with Bikewale, where we're doing our special episode of upcoming bikes 2021. And in this episode, we have covered brands like Aprilia, brands like KTM, and many more. So stay tuned, and there's a lot of content coming your way. Next brand we're going to talk about is KTM, and the first bike we're going to cover is the RC200. In fact, we recently saw the production ready model of the RC200, the next generation. At I think the Bajaj Chakan plant, right? So I think the motorcycle will be launched in next couple of weeks, if not months. And in fact, what's happening is KTM has given a lot of updates to the Duke series.
Right.
But the RCs are still little, they're not up to date. They don't do a lot of updates on that motorcycle, that brand. So I think the next generation RC200 will come very soon, and hopefully let's see what do you think about the overall styling?
Honestly, I haven't seen what the RC200 now looks like, but is it the spy pictures that we've seen with the 390, that different complete front cover?
Yeah.
So I think what's clear from the images etc. is that they're going for more upright seating now. So clearly that race ready thing restricted the number of people who bought that motorcycle. So of course everybody wants a fairing because it looks good, but I think the comfort, seating, triangle comfort is something that KTM has now realized is also something that they need to engineer in their motorcycle. I'm not so sure about the styling. I guess once I see it in the flesh, I could say, but RCs in general, I personally have never enjoyed the styling. I've enjoyed the Duke styling, but not so much the RC.
Right? Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about the new 890 Duke that was unveiled, I think, just 2 days ago. It's the base variant. It's the most affordable 890 Duke you can buy. The most expensive one is the 890 Duke R.
Okay.
Right. So this motorcycle gets slightly lower specs equipment, slightly less power. And I think this bike will come to India later this year, and obviously will replace the 790 Duke, because 790 Duke is globally is discontinued. So it doesn't really make sense bringing it to India, right? I mean,
correct. But pardon me, but I don't know the specs difference. So is it the same chassis, same suspension from the 790 that's gone on the 890, and with just a different engine, or is it a completely new motorcycle?
No, it's not a full new motorcycle. It's just because they wanted to adhere to the Euro 5 norms, right? They had to increase the displacement to get more power and to obviously get into the whole emission norms.
Right.
So almost the same suspension, the same platform, the same chassis, the same swing arm. It's just more power and more features.
So I think this is something that we are seeing in most European motorcycles, where to meet the new norms, they're going up in capacity, and there's not as much a bump in power and torque, but clearly capacity expansion or increasing the capacity is the way to go. And so I think the 790 has proven to be, at the end, of course, people bought it for a steal. But it didn't start off at the price point that everybody expected it to be. I don't know whether they're going to assemble the 890 in India. Are they just going to sell it as an import? Will they have a long-term plan for that?
I think Bajaj always believed in assembling it, especially because they get more control over the products, right? So because they already have an assembly line for the 790 Duke, they just have to tune it a bit and get it ready for the 890 Duke. In fact, if that happens, then we can definitely expect either the 790 Adventure or the 890 Adventure.
Yeah, so I think the 790 Adventure would probably not make as much sense as an 890 Adventure, because clearly people would want to spend money on the latest offering.
Correct.
And if they're going to bring the 890 Duke, then the 890 Adventure would make sense. But 890 Adventure this year seems unlikely, doesn't it? I think the 890 Duke would probably make more sense. But yeah, a good motorcycle to look forward to, especially if it can take the game up or move the game up from the 790, because the 790 seriously impressed us. And if it were priced lower, which it was at the end after discounts, I think a lot more people would have bought it.
In fact, if they price the 890 Duke really well, then this Triumph Street Triple RS might have some problems when it comes to.
Correct. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think that's exactly what the 790 also was intended for, to dent Triumph's stronghold in that market. Right.
So next brand we're going to talk about the Aprilia, and the first product we're going to talk about is the SXR 125, the maxi, the smaller version of the SXR 160, a fully a really big looking maxi scooter.
Right.
And we remember one of the top launchers of the company saying that we would first launch the SXR 160 and see how the market responds, and then we will eventually get the SXR 125,
Correct.
which we believe will happen this festive season, because the start for the SXR 160 has been pretty good, and people have really accepted a premium maxi look, a scooter which has really good road presence.
Right.
So the SXR 125 will obviously bring in more customers to the brand, and maybe will also attract a lot of people who want an affordable maxi scooter, right? I mean, something that not as affordable as the Bergman Street, because it's a very common scooter now, but something more stylish, something more premium.
So I think it's a good move to do a SXR 125. I mean, not everybody is, clearly we want style, but we don't want to lose out on fuel economy as much, which probably a 160 is essentially targeted at the real enthusiast.
Correct.
So they want styling and they want power, but most of us want a practical scooter that looks really good, right? That's why the Bergman Street took off. Initially, the sales were good, and I think that's why the SXR 125 makes sense. The question is the pricing. How much lower can they price it compared to the 160? So
Correct.
I think the scooter has potential to do good numbers, but maybe if Aprilia plays the pricing game a little more aggressively than it has. I mean, it did, right? When the first 160 came out, it was pretty aggressively priced for a 160. But I think they've lost that plot going forward. But hopefully with the SXR 125, we will see that, and then it should find good traction.
And the next bikes from the Aprilia are the Tuono 660 and the RS 660, a middleweight motorcycle that was unveiled in I think a year ago, but it will eventually come to India very soon. I think this year they have announced that they will get the 660s to India, but as a CBU route. They don't plan to assemble, which is obvious, right? They don't have a lot of
I think it makes sense, and these are definitely exciting motorcycles. Now, of course, we've not ridden them, but we've read about them, and styling, of course, is a strong part of the 660 package, but it's the usable performance. You've got the RSV4s, they've got all the electronics in the world, they can make you feel like the best rider in the world, but the question is, you can't really exploit it, right? With the 660, you might be able to do that, and especially for people who go to do track days, etc. The Tuono also makes sense, and the 660 also makes sense. With the Tuono, they can probably just ride to the track, do the track day and come back, or 660, they can keep it. So I don't think the numbers are going to be big, but it's a nice flavor that we're going to see in the middleweight segment with the 660. I'm really looking forward to both these motorcycles.
In fact, I think what's going to happen is, because they get these fancy motorcycles into the Motorplex showrooms, right? I'm sure there'll be an increase in footfalls, because suddenly you see a big motorcycle.
That's true.
Right?
That's
so
true.
Eventually it'll help the brand. Eventually it'll also help the dealers get more numbers for their showrooms.
Yeah, it would make sense. I guess you'd draw them in and then show them something that's more affordable. And then you draw a parallel, say that this is the same lineage. So I think,
very good marketing strategy.
Agreed, and I think it would also be interesting to see when the smaller versions of these motorcycles, the lesser capacity single cylinder versions of these motorcycles make it to the market. Then I think it will be really nice to see the small capacity, the 660 and the big, all three looking the same, same lineage, and so it'll just get more people to buy into
In fact, those bikes were confirmed the 300 to 400 cc single cylinder.
Correct,
I think 2022 late or 23 early, right? That was the timeline given to us.
So still a reasonably long wait, but till then they're the 660s.
So the next brand we're going to talk about is Benelli. Right now they just have the Imperiale 400 on sale, which is the only BS6 compliant motorcycle, but we're expecting the brand new 600i. It used to be one of the highest selling motorcycles, and clearly the highest selling inline 4-cylinder motorcycle in India.
And just because of the way it sounded. I guess there's clearly a market for motorcycles that sound fast but might not be really fast, but they sound like they're going million miles an hour. True. I think one of the strong things for that motorcycle to have worked. So will we see the same thing with the new 600i? And what about chassis, engine, of course, suspension, all of that?
So everything is this entire new platform. The frame is new, the subframe is new, the swing arm, even the body work. Like the older or the current TNT 600i, they had like big bulky proportions. That's something which everyone liked, but when it comes to power to weight ratio, it was not really in the motorcycle's favor.
Yeah.
But with this new next generation TS600i, you can expect at least the performance bit to be slightly on the better side, along with the really good sound.
Yeah, so I guess if the sound can come close to, or the performance can come close to matching the sound,
Yeah.
then I think, and of course the price, because pricing also was one of the more attractive bits about the 600i. So if they can do that again, I think it'll again find a whole set of fans.
Now we'll talk about Ducati, and the first bike we're going to talk about is the Multistrada V4. That was unveiled recently.
Yep.
They're brand new motorcycle. They're the brand new engine. I think it's everything is really new on that motorcycle in terms of the engine, in terms of features, in terms of styling, right? In fact, I was always been a fan of the Multistradas because it's one of the most comfortable ADV tourers we have ever ridden.
Agreed.
And with the new V4, I think things are going to a different level, right?
I'm sure. I mean, I guess you will also need electronics at a different level with that V4. But yeah, I think Multistrada, the essential road going version, the S version, was it?
Yeah.
I think one of the fine motorcycles to tour on, even to ride in the city, well balanced, all of that. Of course, the Enduro was only good for tall people like you, scared the hell out of people like us because we just couldn't get our feet down properly. It was top heavy, needed a lot of experience and balance and all that. But of course, people looking for performance, I think V4 is Ducati's new way forward.
Correct.
Getting that in the Multistrada, more usable torque for people to get the slides going if they want, or just to go off-roading, I think makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
And now that we're talking performance, there's a Street Fighter V4 as well.
Well, V4 is the way to go. Got one, plonk it everywhere. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's a naked version of the Panigale V4, right? Something. It looks. The first time I saw that photo, I was like, it looks so aggressive. It looks so angry.
Right.
And I'm sure in the racetrack, it's going to be a different experience with that motorcycle.
I'm sure. Yeah, if you can hold on to the bike without any protection. But yeah, and but the only thing with the V4s is the pricing. I think, of course, Ducatis are expensive, but again, it pushes the whole pricing game to a level that would alienate.
Correct.
A lot of people who were just about getting there would now have to, because you wouldn't want to buy if you're spending that sort of money, you wouldn't want to buy something lesser.
Correct.
But now the V4 has moved the game so far ahead, or will, that people would have to again wait for some more time. But let's see what the pricing is when the bikes come out.
And the final bike they're going to talk about from Ducati is the new Monster. It's a new motorcycle that was unveiled a couple of weeks ago, and it looks really, really good. In fact, when it comes to India, we believe that it should be priced well, because if it does, because the overall design language, overall performance, I think it'll do well in India.
Yeah, Monsters, I think we've had all types of Monsters in terms of engine capacities, and the ones with the lower engine capacity are the ones that really sold well.
Correct.
So how much does this displace now?
So this is around 937 cc, produces around 111 bhp of peak power.
So it'll clearly be the more expensive Monster so far, right? Because the last one was somewhere in the 800 cc bracket.
Correct.
So this would be more expensive. Okay. And goes up against the likes of the 890 Duke when it comes out, the Street Tripper. So I guess there are lots of options in that class.
Certainly we have a lot of options.
Yeah, but let's see where Ducati prices this motorcycle. Right.
The next brand we're going to take is Harley Davidson, and the bike that will be, in fact, will be unveiled next few days. It's the Pan America 1250. Their first big adventure motorcycle that will take on the legendary BMW R1250 GS. And in fact, it'll be. We were told that as soon as the bike is launched globally, it will also come to India, right? They believe there's a huge market for that.
Clearly, now Harley, of course, is now being handled by Hero in India. I mean, they're the ones that are going to sell the motorcycle. But of course, the Pan America is was part of the whole new range of motorcycles that they developed for developing markets, different sort of audience, and eventually I think that is what led them to bleed. and they've shut all of those bikes, those projects, but the Pan America remains because, of course, adventure bikes are the flavor today and will probably be the flavor tomorrow. And like Prateek said, competition to the BMW, but of course, in terms of capabilities, we don't think it will come anywhere close. But if you're a Harley fan and you want some standing up and riding, going a little bit off-road, maybe that's the one for you.
In fact, last year at EICMA, I had the chance to see the motorcycle, the concept in person, and I have to tell you, it has incredible road presence, just like the big Harley Davidsons, right? And I think they've figured it out. Like they have been developing motorcycle that looks really good. It's huge, a lot of aspiration, and I think that is what they want to follow with this Pan America as well.
Yeah, clearly. I mean, I haven't seen it in the flesh, but pictures-wise, I think it really, really does stand out. Right.
The next brand we're going to talk about is Triumph Motorcycles, and they have a very interesting lineup this year. They have actually 3 motorcycles, and the first motorcycle, the one which we're actually very excited to ride, is the Trident 660. It's a middleweight street bike, right?
Yes. So I think we've seen some really significant motorcycles that have come from Triumph. The new Tiger, which you seem to love, then the new Street Triple RS, which everybody else in the team seems to love, and now there's going to be the Trident, and I think Trident is going to be their most affordable motorcycle before the Bajaj Triumph motorcycles come. And internationally also, I think they're really going for the market for what they call a slightly more expensive than the Interceptor, for instance, but essentially a street motorcycle. And the goal really is to take on the Japanese, your Ninja 650s and Z650s and all of that.
And the CBR 650F from Honda, right?
Yes. And so I think even in the Indian context, they're going to price it quite aggressively, and it should be a nice, agile, comfortable motorcycle to ride on a daily basis, but still quick enough to keep you entertained. So I'm really looking forward to the Trident 660.
And the next bike is the Tiger 850 Sport, a motorcycle that is based on the Tiger 900 but gets slightly less displacement. I think they have done this to compete with the other motorcycles in the 850cc category, right? But the interesting bit here, we have a motorcycle that looks exactly like the Tiger 850 Sport, which is a Tiger 900 GT. Right. So I think they just want to have more products in their portfolio so that it can, one is with the price point, they'll be able to attract more people into the brand.
So what's really the difference between the 900 GT and the 850 Sport visually? They both come with alloy wheels. They both
alloys. Visually, there is hardly any difference, but only the major change you can see is the engine, which is again, it's the same engine but with slightly less displacement, right? But overall, I think it makes me feel that they just wanted to have a product because it would help them take on, say, the BMW 850, the GS, right? So they didn't have a 850cc motorcycle. They directly went to 900 from 800.
So clearly pricing will be key then in this class. All right, So Triumph's really spreading its, tentacles in all possible markets, experimenting with things. And of course, there's another one that's due, which is the Speed Triple 1200 RS. Long name, mouthful, but given what we've experienced or seen with what they've done with the Street Triple RS, I think this too will be a really, really nice motorcycle to ride. Of course, more power, more torque, maybe smarter electronics,
for sure,
a higher price tag, but I think the styling philosophy should be similar and should be entertaining to ride, because I think they're working very hard towards dynamics, braking, electronics, all of these things. Triumph is now paying a lot of attention to, even on street bikes. So they'll feel like racy motorcycles, but street, of course. So.
And it also has a RS tag, right?
Correct.
That is something we're looking forward to.
Totally. And that's a wrap on our special take on new bikes for 2021. We hope you enjoyed the show. We've given you some information. Do write in, comment and tell us whether you agree, disagree, or what you think could be the bikes that we missed. And of course, next week we'll be back taking on all your questions. So come back.